Hello, world. Your favorite podcast host, Anthony Diaz, here with another episode of 50 States of Terror. This episode is, of course, brought to you by Alpha Line Productions. Alpha Line Productions is a company I started last year to house all of my creative endeavors. If you want to support, you can donate to my Buy Me a Coffee campaign, and every cent donated goes towards keeping the show alive and acquiring new equipment. The link will be provided in the episode description. You can also subscribe to this show a couple of ways. You can become a Patreon member, and you can subscribe through my Buzzsprouts website. If you can't donate to the show, you can 100% help for free by liking, subbing, leaving comments, and sharing. All it takes is a few minutes, and you can help me build a podcasting empire. Just kidding. Or am I? Okay, this is new because I'm doing this two ways. I am recording on the video and I'm recording audio through Audition. I figure if I'm going to build a YouTube empire for podcasting, then it's better to try to do it both ways, right? And see what sticks. And for those who are looking at the YouTube video right now and seeing my eyes dart to the screen and come back to you, it's because I have notes and it's really hard for me to do things on the fly and improv because I'm not that good at it. But that doesn't mean that I can't get better. So if you're looking at this and you're viewing this on YouTube, then you'll see the eyes dart. But if you're listening to it, hey, it's seamless. And that's just cool. Okay. So small talk banter. Well, one of the cool things about doing a show like this is the people you meet while just chilling on social media. Go check out my new friends over at Kraken Cans Cast. That's KrakenCansCast. These two dudes bust open a beer and discuss everything spooky. And they're pretty cool dudes. I will also post a quick link in the show notes so you can just quickly go and check out their stuff. So I am still applying for a few part-time jobs in town. Nothing has come out of it yet, but I am sure that I'll find something and make some extra income here shortly. I just submitted a new story to my vocal page, and I'm getting back into editing my novel. Oh, and guess who's racking his brain on website design? It's me. Enter sad trombone noise now. Wah, wah, wah. I figured now in our technological times, it wouldn't be this frustrating to make a website, but I'm going to power through it. Anywho, let's get into Tennessee's history. Oh, and to the awesome people in Hayneville, Alabama, thank you for the recent downloads. I truly appreciate the support. You guys seem to really like the beer and coffee episode, and it was really cool to see the numbers go up in a town, and to see numbers start popping up for that specific town. So it was kind of cool. Okay, now let's get into Tennessee's history. Admitted into the Union on June 1st, 1796, with its capital of Nashville, Tennessee. It's considered one of the most naturally beauteous state, with places like Great Smoky Mountains, Great Smoky Mountains, the Tennessee River, Ruby Falls, the Lost Sea, and numerous caves and caverns. I personally have driven through Tennessee multiple times and consider Nashville my midway stopping point when I used to make the drive from Texas to North Carolina and vice versa in my military days. I never had any issues with Tennessee. The people were friendly and the beers were always cold. Tennessee derived its name from a Cherokee town of Tennessee. I knew I was going to mess this up. Tennessee, Quick trivia. Did you know that 26 out of the 50 states' names come from indigenous names? And it's 27 if you want to debate Oregon. Before the Europeans came, the area of Tennessee was inhabited by early Paleo Indians, and the hunt of choice were mastodons. And not the awesome heavy metal band, the giant ancestors of elephants. But for real, Mastodon is a kick ass band. I saw them live when they toured with Coheed and Cambria, and Coheed and Cambria is another amazing band. Now, by now you should already get the next few hundred years if you listen to the show. By the 17th century, the area was inhabited by Muskogee Creek, Yuchi, Shawnee, and Cherokee. It is noted that the Cherokee was moving west due to European expansion and diseases. The Cherokee started driving early inhabitants out as they were looking for new land. That familiar Spanish name, Hernando de Soto, was one of the first Europeans to move into the area as an explorer. By the 17th century, the French made their way into the area for their exploration and settlements. In the 1750s, British settlers began to colonize what is now known as Tennessee, and conflicts arose between the British and the Cherokee. After the French and Indian War, Britain said that no settlements should be made west of the Appalachian Mountains. This was a way to soften the relations between European settlers and native indigenous peoples. By 1775, during the American Revolution, a series of treaties and negotiations between the Cherokee eventually led to the Southwest Territory in 1790. This would be the foundation that would lead to the support for statehood. Now, into the Civil War, Tennessee joined the Confederacy on June 8th, 1861. When they voted to leave the Union, some of the most brutal battles were Fort Donelson, Shiloh, Chickamauga, Chattanooga, Stones River, Franklin, and Nashville. Many of those battle sites are now preserved as national parks. And here's a quick plug for our national parks. Please consider becoming a season ticket holder or annual ticket holder and support the parks. As a former park ranger, it helps preserve our lands, wildlife, and our history. Okay, so back on July 24th, 1866, Tennessee became the first Confederate state to be readmitted into Congress. Racial tensions grew, and by 1929, much of Tennessee was incredibly hit hard by the Great Depression. Incredible strides for equality arose from 1954 to present day. Tennessee became an industrial booming state since World War II. It is home to the country music capital of the world and is the 11th most visited state in the Union. If you are ever in Tennessee, venture into the many scenic beauties and just pause for a second. Tennessee. Okay, let's get into the cryptids. The first one is the Cumberland dragon, aka the Goosefoot. Oh, and if you notice, this episode we're doing 3 because they're smaller known obscure cryptids, so there's enough time to fit 3 into this episode. So the first one is the Cumberland dragon, aka the Goosefoot. So, like I said, here at 50 States of Terror, we like to take the more obscure cryptids and give them their 15 minutes of fame. So, enter the Cumberland dragon. This cryptid, for what I can find, has only one reported sighting, and that occurred around February of 1794. The sighting was posted in the Caledonian, and I'm probably butchering that name, Caledonian Mercury, a newspaper that ran from 1720 to 1867. The following is a blurb that ran on December 4th, 1794. And this research blurb is coming from Cryptids Fandom. It's a website that I get the majority of my quick research from. Excuse me. And I quote, "In February last, a detachment of mounted infantry commanded by Captain John Beard penetrated 15 miles into the Cumberland Mountain. On Cover Creek, Ensign MacDonald and another man, in advance of the party as spies, discovered a creature about 3 steps from them. It had only 2 legs and stood almost upright, covered with scales with a black, brown, and a light yellow color and spots like rings, a white tuft on crown on top of its head, about 4 feet high, a head as big as 2-pound stone, and large eyes of fiery red. It stood about 3 minutes in a daring posture. Quotations, orders were given not to fire a gun except at the Indians. Mr. MacDonald advanced and struck at it with his sword. When it jumped at least 8 feet and lit on the same spot of ground, sending forth a red kind of matter out of its mouth, resembling blood. It then retreated into the myrtle thicket, turning around often as it intended to fight. The tracks of it resembled that of a goose, but larger. The Indians reported that a creature inhabits that part of the mountain and the above description, which, by its breath, will kill a man if it does not instantly immerse itself in water." Incredibly interesting. Basically, what we have here is a small dragon. And we're going to discuss more about that towards the end. Okay. The next is Whistling Jack. This one was a difficult creature to research. How I found this one was I was trying to decide on what cryptid to talk about. I found the Cumberland dragon, but then came across a picture of a large black cat called Whistling Jack. It took a little bit to get something, but I believe that I found something that stems from a fearsome critters category of lumberjack folklore. And if you remember from different episodes, we have done fearsome critters before, which were lumberjack inspired or lumberjack campfire folklore. I couldn't directly find anything under Whistling Jack, but I did find something under the tea kettler. And I really need someone from Tennessee to collaborate or correct this. But I'm pretty much sure that Whistling Jack is a nickname given to the tea kettler. And the tea kettler is a large dog or cat which then emits steam like a kettle from its mouth. And that's it. It doesn't say anything about lumberjacks or destroying forest areas or causing mayhem. It's simply a creature who whistles like a tea kettle. The picture I can find would reference this cat resembled a wampus cat. So it's just a big cat. The fact that it whistles suggests that it does try to lure people, but I literally spent 2 days trying to find any information and I couldn't find anything without going through a paywall. So please, anyone from Tennessee who knows what this thing is, let me know in the comments, write the show and let's figure this out, because I honestly was intrigued about the Whistling Jack because I do like big cats. I do like the big cat cryptids, and my favorite animal in the world is ocelot. So when I saw the Whistling Jack, I was like, this is awesome, but I couldn't find anything on it without like either paying for an Amazon book or going through a paywall. So that was a little disappointing. So the next one, and this one is by far the coolest one. This one's called the Knot Deer. And I say the best one for last. This one can be as scary or as silly as you make it. and it is called the knot deer. The knot deer, spelled Notdeer. This is a creature that inhabits the Appalachian Mountains. It is a deer that is just not right. There is something off about this particular deer. The knot deer seems to be a normal deer from afar, but once you get closer, once you get closer, the things that could be wrong with it are sometimes considered silly or downright hideous. For example, sightings of the knot deer could have its eyes located in the front instead of its sides, giving it a more cartoonish look. Other sightings indicate that the knot deer has extra joints, and as it moves, it looks like it creaks and jolts in sharp movements, like a nightmarish creature. The knot deer is said to have behavior like other deer, so it is not super afraid of humans, but once it becomes skittish, it may like climb a tree like a cat or melt from existence. This is one of my favorites as it dives into the possibilities of what it could be. It could be a deformed or deceased deer, but what explains the sightings of it being chased up a tree or disappearing? Again, the night deer is super, super cool. So now it's time for the rating. It is time to rate these cryptids from 1 to 5 golden nesses, 5 being the highest and 1 being the lowest. I'm going to group these all together and give it one complete score. So what do we have? We have a dragon, a 4-foot dragon, but a dragon nonetheless. And this apparently is the only sighting I can find that has substance. Now we have discussed aerial cryptids before. I do like the story that surrounds this one. I just wish there was more accounts of this small dragon. Next, we have the Whistling Jack. I am a fan of big cats. I am biased when it comes to big cat cryptids because of the plausibility of it being something blown out of proportion. But I do like the fact that this centers around old lumberjack stories. What I think it centers around. But that's only because that is the only one I can find without about the Whistling Jack. Again, anyone from Tennessee, please help me out on this one. I do like one random anonymous Reddit response. Like when I was doing the research and an anonymous response, it just had Skinwalker and then question mark, question mark, question mark. And the final one is the knot deer. I have seen some interesting TikToks centered around these type of deers that just don't look right. One in particular was a deer with its neck obviously broken, hopping around in a tall grassy field, and there's a car in front of it, and one deer was already like prancing away or running away, and then this deer with his head obviously like lopsided just kind of just like pops his head, well, not pops his head, pops his body, and then just rocks away. uh yeah, so my immediate thought was nope, no, hell nope. You can wrap that nope and fling it. I'm not getting close to that to that one. But the possibility of it being a deer with some sort of deformity or disease is quite high. But man, I really want to like the zombie deer or modern day Wendigo. I mean, the possibility of the knot deer being something more is just super intriguing. Actually, that would be kind of terrifying. So always remember, if you're in the woods and you hear a whistle, no, you didn't. So the rating, I give them all a solid 4. It gives a look into the obscure cryptids that Tennessee has to offer. All in all, these are all really interesting ones, but I think the overall picture of what Tennessee has to offer. And we're not getting into the heavy hitter ones. We're not getting into Sasquatch. We're not getting into that one because I will always say no state gets to claim Sasquatch. But with these three cryptids, solid 4. So thank you all for tuning in to this episode of 50 States of Terror. And here is your Ziggy's wisdom. Beer before liquor, never been sicker. Liquor before beer, have no fear. But you can pretty much have seltzers all day. All right. Remember to be cool today. Later, y'all.